really do miss the days when you could just shoot a man for laughing at you. Word of warning, in this establishment, we do not bother to call 911.
Cassidy got out, and now it's our turn. God's not gonna kick his own ass.
What exactly is the question?
My question is, if it breaks the spell and gets us the hell out of here, why don't we just kill her?
Let me make one thing crystal clear. You bust up in my office like that ever again, I will cut your balls off and roll them like dice.
You gonna blow on them first?
So hi everyone, welcome to the Fandom Zone, episode 148,
Sure.
week ending July 28th, 2018. Welcome back, I am Karen.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Right, I'm Charles, I think.
Yep. And this week we're going to be talking about Preacher 305, Cloak and Dagger 109, Luke Cage 206, and Wynonna Earp 302. And before we talk about Wynonna...
Bingo! Oh, wait, that sounds like bingo.
No.
Okay.
Before we talk about Wynonna Earp 302, why don't we give the good news that Wynonna Earp was renewed for season 4 already? Yay! Yay!
Unless you're Patrick Lugo, who's not a big fan of Wynonna Earp, apparently.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, Patrick. Sorry, Patrick.
Hey, seriously, we had to wait last year for a renewal until after the season ended, and so I love that they were proactive this year and they went ahead.
Yeah,
and
you only had to wait one episode to get that renewal this year.
That's fantastic. I'm really happy about that. Now, and we already have a renewal for Cloak and Dagger, which is great as well. I mean, Luke Cage season 3 is pretty much a lock, I'm guessing, and Preacher season 4 maybe. I don't know.
We'll see. The ratings have been kind of
yeah.
So that I'd hold off on that Preacher yet.
But AMC did renew Fear the Walking Dead this last week as well.
Yes.
So
I got a season 5 pickup.
So there's that.
Hard to believe it's been season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead.
I know. It seems like the new show on the block when it really is not.
Right.
Preacher's way newer than that. So
yes. Yep.
Very weird.
I think Cloak and Dagger even newer.
Yeah, well, Cloak and Dagger is way newer.
Because, hey, it's only been the first season.
Right. So we have a second season of Cloak and Dagger. And along those same lines, I mean, we get The Gifted back too this year. So we have some two kind of young Marvel shows coming back for a second season, which I like very much.
Yes.
Skewing younger, but I like them as well. So
you got to get that next generation of Marvel fans.
Right. I really dig that it's bringing in the younger people. So.
Got to bring in the kids. You know, I know a lot of older fans are like, oh, why is this show geared toward young people?
Because we need young people to get into comic books. That's what we need.
Old people will die and they need to be replaced.
Right. So let's bring them in now.
I say that as an old person.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
As an old person.
Semi-old person.
Yeah. Both of us are semi-old people.
Semi-old. Quasi-old.
Quasi.
The Diet Coke of old.
That's right. The Diet Coke of old.
1 calorie old. Not old enough.
And speaking of old, let's talk about an old lady.
Oh, I see what you did there. Very nice segue.
Thank you. So we'll start with Preacher 305, The Coffin.
The Coffin, directed by Millicent Shelton. Pay attention to that name because it may come up again this week. Mm-hmm. And written by Mary Laws.
All right. Now, why will that come up again?
You'll find out.
Okay.
It's a mystery. Ooh.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
Yeah,
so
Millicent Shelton. Remember that, Shelton. Remember that name.
Okay. I have a couple of storylines here.
Okay.
A story, Duke It Out.
Okay. The Duke. Okay, Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm. B story, Witness Walk.
I was so happy about that, by the way.
I know, me too. I was flailing a lot during this episode.
You're like doing the Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why in a minute. I mean, it'll be here.
Okay.
B story, Witness Walk. And those were the 2 words that were in the crossword puzzle. 4-letter word for perambulate was walk.
Oh,
and the other one was witness. So this is Tulip's storyline, witness walk.
Very clever. I like what you did with that. That's very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Well done.
C story, swiped left. That is
okay. That's got to be Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The South didn't rise again.
Yeah, that's going to be that creepy bit of cosplay, which we really have to talk about.
Yes, that's why I mentioned it here. And then you put, and I loved this, Jesus tap dancing Christ, because what a perfect way.
That's why I know great. I know you usually do the A, B, and C, but I had to contribute because I came up with this, and it's kind of obvious, I thought, but it was just Jesus tap dancing Christ.
Yeah, well, it kind of is perfect. I mean, it's spot on.
Well, I think that's why they did it. I think that's why they had him tap dancing.
Yeah, of course.
As a nod to that phrase.
Jesus tap dancing Christ. I mean, come on.
Right.
Okay, and before we get into it, I just want to say the reason I was flailing through all this is because they dropped in so many iconic comic book references in this one episode. We got the Duke.
About time, in my opinion.
The Duke. We got the lighter that says F communism on it.
Right.
We got Allfather D'Henrique. I can't pronounce it.
D'Henrique.
Thank you, D'Henrique. And we got Icarius and La Fond du Sang as well in this.
Icarius, yeah. So now, if you're a Preacher comic fan, especially if you read recently the book 3 of the 6-book Preacher collection, there's a lot of stuff they're drawing from in this season out of that volume.
Right.
So if you want to kind of start digging through the comic references, that would be my recommendation of where to start.
Right. But all this stuff came into this one episode, and I was just in love with it. I mean,
it's more references, the better.
Yeah, it was like an Easter egg hunt to end all Easter egg hunts in this one episode.
The Duke especially is somebody that's been way overdue, because the Duke is this character in the comics that gives Jesse someone to kind of monologue against.
Right.
Or, to have a dialogue in his head.
Right. So instead of just seeing like thought bubbles, he gets to talk to someone and to interface with.
Right. And to have a conversation, at least to himself.
Right. And it has meaning for him because his father was a John Wayne lover.
Right.
And
there are a lot of parallels to his father, that maybe his father's spirit is speaking through this John Wayne allegory.
Right. And that's one of the things that comes out of all this, is that it might actually be his father speaking to him.
Right.
So there's that. And also that the lighter that Jody has, he took it from Jesse's father when he killed him.
Right.
Which... Spoiler alert.
Yep.
But that lighter came from Jesse's father.
Let's just say that's going to end up in somebody else's hands when this is all said and done. It should.
Right. It better.
It should. Yeah, it better.
And it apparently was given to him by John Wayne. That's the legend, at least, right? That John Wayne gave it to him in Vietnam. I thought it was from when
I don't think it was John Wayne that gave it to him in Vietnam.
No, that was a story.
Oh, was it? I couldn't remember.
No, that was a story.
I need a refresher on that.
And that's why he was such a fan of John Wayne.
Oh, okay. He must have been over like USO or something.
Yes, something like that. And he gave him the lighter. Yeah, so that's the story. And so when the Duke comes to visit him, it has all this heavy meaning for Jesse. So when he makes this appearance in this episode, it makes me jump up and down and say, thank you. You brought something else from the comic into the show. And, they can do an Elseworlds-ish sort of show as much as they want. It's fine with me as long as they stay in the spirit of the comic. But when they bring stuff in from the comics, that makes me so happy.
Right.
I mean, Jesus was not, or God was not on Earth in a dog costume. That never happened.
Well, I think a lot of the criticism of the show has been that it strays too far from the comics.
Yeah.
And so now that we're finally getting some references,
yeah,
it's like, we're getting water to a thirsty a person dying of thirst.
Right,
here.
right. And I still like the show. I don't care how far it strays, to be honest, as long as I enjoy it. But, I loved this one. And Allfather, oh my God.
Yeah. The Allfather d'Aranique is pretty much note perfect to the comics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though at times you could tell like his kind of like fat suit is like kind of boxish.
It's a suit, yeah.
It's a suit, but
it's still pretty much like the comics.
He still pretty much looks like the comic version. So yeah.
Right.
That's pretty. Basically, like like if Jabba the Hutt, you combine Jabba the Hutt with like the Pope.
Yep.
You would get Allfather d'Aranique.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And his interchanges with Star were so great.
Yes.
Because Star just does not want to do
I love
what
that
he
it was
says.
like they were talking over an iPad.
Yeah. Yeah. It was so funny.
It was hilarious. All right, so we got to talk about this.
Okay, so we have been kind of talking. So
we
Duke it out. Jesse is on the outs with Grandma because they think he let Cassidy go, and so they put him in this coffin, and he's trying to get out. Now he's talking to the Duke in his head, and
this is the same coffin that he was put in as a kid.
As a kid, right?
As punishment,
right? And of course, Tulip,
which had been hooked up with a hose. So that he can breathe under there, but he can't escape because he's under all this water.
Right. So there's no way to push it open or anything. Right.
And so he'd have to like bust out of the coffin, then swim out of that river.
Right. Right. The bog or whatever, the swamp.
Yeah, the bog. Yeah, exactly.
So, and you can tell he's been in it a lot because Tulip's name has been carved in there, and
Jesse kind of reminisces of like when he carved Tulip's name into the coffin and stuff. So.
Right, and he's flashing back to a lot of stuff. And again, it's probably because he's been locked in it again that he sees the Duke, because it's something that he did when he was younger too.
Right.
So the Duke is helping him to fend off these bad memories by killing all these people from the train. But the Duke actually kind of shores him up and says, don't kill the people off the train, stop the train.
Yeah, and I kind of love the way they did that because they shot it in black and white.
Oh, so good.
And it made it look like a Western movie. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was very cool the way they did that.
Yeah, they even made it kind of blurry and jumpy, which I dug a lot.
Right.
So he does shore up his courage, and he figures out a way to... Now, I almost named this a cigarette lighter, because there's a joke from the old Batman series where the Riddler asks a riddle, and the answer is to throw the cigarette overboard to make it a cigarette lighter.
Okay, got it.
But anyway, that was dumb, so I put Duke it out. So he uses the cigarette to create suction in the hole, and then, of course, the light on the end of the cigarette blows up the flammable.
And this is after several attempts, because he's got like a pack of cigarettes. Now he takes one of the cigarettes and breaks it in half so he can plug his ears for the water.
He uses the filters.
The filters.
Yeah.
And then he tries to light one, goes under the water, it fizzles.
Right.
And again, repeat.
Right.
And then finally gets the last one to work, of course.
Right. And what kind of cigarettes are they?
They are
Pilgrims.
Pilgrim cigarettes. Yep.
Pilgrims.
Which is a nod to John Wayne's catchphrase for those who don't know.
Exactly.
What that is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because he used to always walk around going, Pilgrim.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic as well. And he does get out, and he dovetails with Tulip's storyline. Now, Tulip.
Yes.
Tulip gets caught.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. Pew. Tulip is caught by Jody and TC.
Oh.
And she's being held captive. Now, Jody is watching her, and she manages to get one up on Jody.
Right.
And she chains him to the radiator.
Right.
And then TC comes to check on her, and she bonks him over the head. Okay.
Yeah, there was this great exchange we have to talk about real quick. When Jody barged into this room early in the episode to take on Jesse, and then Tulip went toe-to-toe with TC, and what's playing? Ow, Werewolves of London.
Yeah.
Dun, dun. And we had just talked about that.
Yeah, it's true.
So that was funny.
What played at the end of the episode?
I don't know.
I don't either, but
the whole sequence I thought was pretty.
Yeah, that was good. Okay, so she does get out, and she goes straight to Grandma.
Right.
And she and Grandma have a tussle while Grandma has a knife, and she ends up choking out Grandma,
right,
where she falls dead as well. Jesse,
because as Tulip finds out, they're connected.
Right. Jesse walks in just in time to see them both dead on the floor, tries to revive Tulip.
Yeah.
But of course, Tulip's not going to wake up because...
And TC's like, well, you might want to revive Grandma because that's the only way you're going to get Tulip back.
Right. So he does with the old Pulp Fiction needle through the chest.
Yeah, the adrenaline shot right through the breastbone.
Right. They even make reference to it. She ain't no Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you jab it right into the heart because you have to stab it in there apparently hard enough to break the bone, but careful not to break the needle.
Right. You have to make it through your sternum.
Yes, to reach the heart.
Right. Ouchie.
To give that adrenaline shot.
Right.
And then, of course, you wake up
right,
gasping.
And Grandma ain't doing so good.
Nope.
At the end there. But, of course...
and her wig finally falls off.
Oh, my God. That was so great, right?
So I was like, yes. She's got the scraggly hair.
And can I just say, Betty Buckley is killing it.
Yep.
Right?
I was so glad she had Gollum hair.
So good.
Hashtag Gollum hair.
Yeah, and she is having Gollum hair. I haven't even seen those movies, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Thank you.
And
it's kind of a predominant pulp culture icon.
Yeah,
now.
It is. Yeah.
That.
And she says, "I'm going to eat her soul." It's so creepy too.
Yeah. Yeah, she's killing it.
Yeah, she really is.
Literally. She's killing it.
She is so Grandma in this role. I mean,
right.
The hair and everything. Okay, so there's that. And we'll get to how that is resolved in a minute.
Right.
Okay, so there's all that. Now, swipe left. Cassidy is now in New Orleans. And he goes on their equivalent of Tinder, the vampire equivalent of Tinder.
Yeah. So he's got a dating app called like Bite Me.
Oh yes, it is called Bite Me.
And so so he's apparently chatting up with someone he thinks is another vampire.
Right.
But
and they're having a nice date.
Yeah.
And they decide to go into the restroom for an interlude.
Yeah.
And she takes a moment to pop in.
This girl's name is Lisa, by the way.
Right. To pop in some fake teeth.
Yeah, she pops in and like all of a sudden pulls out the plastic fangs.
Yeah, and
he's like, oh man.
She's not a real vampire, and she wants him to bite her neck. And
this deserves the fail music.
Yeah, it kind of does. Hold on.
He is so let down that he wasn't able to hook up with another vampire.
Yeah.
Especially one that he liked. And she was all happy that like, hey, you look exactly like your profile picture.
Right? Right? And he says she does too, and they're really getting along at dinner. And he's all cleaned up and looks nice and everything.
He's got a weird shirt on because Cassidy does not He's not very fashion forward.
Right. It says cowboy on it.
But it's good for cats. Yeah, and it's backwards because
it's inside out.
It's inside out. Yes, right. Yes.
Right.
So couldn't even think to put on the shirt properly.
Who cares? It's clean.
Yeah, it's good for Cassidy.
Right.
Yes.
And he has a jacket on, a sports coat. I mean, come on, a sports coat. When does he have a sports coat on?
That's, like a blazer over a inside-out shirt.
Come on, that is the height of sophistication for Cassidy.
That is. That's like putting on the Ritz for Cassidy. Now,
when he finds out this chick is not a vampire, he goes vampire on her and scares her.
Yeah, he pulls it. He lets out the fangs, so we finally get to see the fangs again.
Which is awesome. I love it when that happens.
And so she freaks out, and
he does that.
And he calls her a poser.
Right, he does. He's not happy. And he never lied to her. You know, he said, how long have you been a vampire? And he said 85 years, and she said 200.
Yeah, she made up
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
So then he goes and it's like, damn it, and then he goes to get hammered at the bar.
Right, and he takes all those pills that... who's the guy who created the show?
Garth Ennis.
No, created the show.
The Sam Catlin, and the
comedian
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen is the guy who sells him the pills.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was a good. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was Seth Rogen.
So Seth Rogen.
Of course it is because Seth Rogen is a stoner.
Right. Big time stoner.
And I don't think I'm going to get in trouble for saying that.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
So Seth Rogen sells him the pills, and he calls them horse tranquilizers. And so he's taking the whole bottle sitting there. And I love, he's taking a drink of both bottles of booze that he orders off the bar, and then he just throws the whole bottle of pills in his mouth, and one pill is hanging
Yeah. It's kind of dangling off his lip. You know, like a cigarette.
Like the guy from Bloom County.
Oh, yeah, Steve Dallas.
Steve Dallas. He always has...
Yeah, it has a cigarette dangling from his lip.
Right,
yeah.
Right, one. Yeah. So he's got one pill just hanging off his lip, and he's chewing.
Right.
With the one pill hanging off. It is kind of charming, actually. I thought it was charming that he was sitting there, and he just couldn't care less.
Yep.
And who's at the bar with him, though?
Of course, it's Featherstone.
Because,
in disguise.
Because they have a plan to bring Cassidy in order to ransom him.
She still has a banged up nose.
Big time. In order to ransom him to bring Jesse in.
Right. So the Grail just kind of swoops in and grabs him and swoops right back out.
Right. All right. Let's go to Jesus Tap Dancing Christ.
Jesus, tap dancing Christ.
Right. Because Allfather finally has contacted Hairstar.
Right.
And says, so where are we with our second coming?
And again, this is on an iPad that he calls it.
So funny.
So he's like, yeah, how's Humperdude doing?
Right. And Hairstar says, well, he's
not quite ready to take the place of the Messiah.
Right. He's not quite ready. Well, what have you trained him to do? He has one skill. Okay, and can I just say...
Yeah.
Malcolm Barrett...
Yeah.
Is fantastic in this scene. When he plays the piano.
Hoover? Yeah.
Hoover, yes.
Right.
He's playing the piano, and Humperdinck, who, by the way, Humperdew, sorry.
Yes.
Who, by the way, he's the lead singer of a band, and I can't remember.
The actor's name is Tyson Ritter.
Right.
I think it's All American Rejects.
All American Rejects, that's it, yes.
Okay.
So he's the lead singer of All American Rejects.
Because I'm hip with the kids.
Thank you.
Hello, my fellow kids. How are you today?
What high school do you go to?
Yes.
So yeah, when I found that out, I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
I wonder if he's related to
the Ritters. He's not.
John Ritter, like Kristen Ritter.
He's not.
Okay.
Okay,
just a common name, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
But he is in the All American Rejects. I think.
He is.
All right.
I just looked it up the other day. I couldn't remember though. Okay, so he sings and dances.
He tap dances like to this piano number that Hoover's doing.
Right, and then Hairstar is like,
yeah, Hairstar's just like, this is. I am so embarrassed right now.
I am so gonna get killed, is what he's thinking. I'm sure.
That's exactly. So he's a little understandably nervous that the Allfather's gonna just have him killed for this.
Right, but the Allfather is delighted.
Right. He's like, that's great, and then he's all like wheezy and stuff.
And he wants to move up the date of revealing.
He goes, ho ho ho, Boshuda.
Yes, exactly.
Oh wait, that's Jabba.
Right, and then Featherstone wraps a chain around his neck and chokes him.
Yep.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So he wants to move. What?
Nice reference.
You finally got that?
Oh, I know I got the reference.
Okay.
Yeah, as soon as you said put chain around Jabba's neck, yeah, I got it. I got the reference.
Okay, so he wants to move up the timetable, and they are now scrambling to try and get Jesse.
Yes.
So they do have Cassidy, and they set him in a chair, and they have him read this ransom note thing saying that he is in...
Like a hostage video.
Right, which is funny because he is drunk off his butt.
He can barely sit up. And they've got him trying to read this thing.
But right at the last minute, La Fin du Sang break in and steal him.
Right. So Cassidy was stolen by the Grail, who then Cassidy gets stolen by La Fin du Sang.
Right. So they take him...
AKA Children of Blood.
Right.
In case you're wondering what that stands for.
Right. The Children of Blood. And they take him to their lair or whatever, and... Right. This man in a top hat.
Icarius.
Welcomes.
It's basically like the vampire kids from South Park.
Right. Yes. We're not emo, we're vampires.
So per se, we have Cassidy here, and
yeah, exactly.
And per se, this will help us with our cause of vampires.
Yeah. Apparently, the girl who swiped left on him.
Yeah, Lisa
left him there in the bar.
Well, Lisa apparently belongs to La Font.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Went back and said, "I found a real vampire," and they go and they grab him and take him back.
This really pleases me, per se.
Right. I'm guessing they want to be made into real vampires.
Probably.
So that's that. Now, going back to Angelville.
Yeah.
Now that they know that Grandma is ill and Tulip depends on it, they're all working for the same thing, to save Grandma.
Yeah, it's in everybody's interest to keep the old bag alive.
For now. And TC says, well, in order to keep her alive, we got to find someone for her to feed on. So she needs a soul. And they're all looking at each other. And right at the last minute, they all kind of lunge at each other.
Yeah. TC's like, she needs to eat.
Yeah. We need to get a soul.
Jody votes that they use Tulip's soul. And then Jesse steps in. And then they start throwing down with each other.
Right. And a song plays, but I can't remember what it is.
I can't remember the song either.
Yeah.
I can look it up.
I think that's where we're left.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, we didn't talk about
the South didn't rise again.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that, which needs talking about.
But it can be pulled out as any time sort of.
All right, you talk about that. I'll look this song title up. TC
tries to cheer Grandma up and take her mind off things by doing a little role play. This is something apparently they do on a regular basis. Often. Right. It's something they've been through. So Grandma is dressed up like a Southern belle.
And this is something that's completely different from the comics, to say the least.
Yes. And TC comes in to the room like a soldier, and she says, "You have to leave," and he says, "I don't want to leave," and this is all wrong. And
it's basically like this whole Civil War reenactment thing, and she's like a Southern belle, and he's his soldier
who's apparently like married to someone, and he is not her husband, so it's a forbidden love type thing. And he goes to like reach under her dress, but he is not feeling it. And she doesn't like that. She reaches and tries to check to see if he's into it, and finds out he's not.
Right. He seems distracted.
You can get my gist. There. As in the South didn't rise again.
We don't need to talk about this anymore.
Okay, no. And so that's when her wig comes off, and she decides, I'm not going to be distracted anymore. We got to take out Tulip.
Yeah.
She wants to eat her soul. Now, you notice she doesn't say, I want to kill Tulip. I want to eat her soul. Because Tulip will still be alive. She'll just be like one of those zombies that's down in tombs.
Okay, I have the song titles, by the way.
Okay, great.
So the song where Cassidy gets drunk in a bar, as Featherstone is watching him, is called "A Woman 73."
Okay.
It's by a guy named John. That's the guy's. I think I'm able to play it.
Yep, I recognize it.
That's it. And then the other song is where Cassidy wakes up surrounded by the L'Enfant du Song, is a song called Vals des Marionnettes by Ella Allaire.
Okay.
And I can't play that one.
Okay.
It doesn't have a link for that one.
All right.
So there you go.
All right,
so
thank you.
Now we know. And knowing is half the battle.
Thank you very much.
G.I. Joe. Well, that's the more you know.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
I've heard it both ways.
I have. I've heard it both ways. All right. So I think that's everything. Yeah. I loved this episode so much.
Yeah, this was a crazy Preacher episode. So consequently, it gets a very crazy rating from both of us.
It does.
What's your rating?
I give it 9 crazy mixed up iconic appearances.
Yeah. And I give it 9 plastic fangs.
Teeth. I showed my teeth
plastic
first.
Novelty fangs. I should have called it that.
Plastic novelty fangs. That's good.
Novelty fangs.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Excellente. So,
all right, second show.
On to Cloak and Dagger 109 Backbreaker.
The penultimate episode of the first season.
That's right, and I'm still wondering why it's where it is. I mean, I like it.
It's good for what it is, but it's still treading water.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the season finale, though, we saw the trailer for that, and that at least looks like on target.
Yeah. Well,
so
on target for episode 5.
This season probably could have been about 6 episodes.
Yeah. I'm
just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
It started really strong and then kind of kept treading water.
Mm-hmm.
And this episode is no different. Written by Nicole Levy and Peter Calloway, directed by Jeff Woolnall.
Oh, hey, you said you were going to mention the director of that episode again. Or has she just directed something else?
Just wait for it. Wait for it.
Okay.
Wait for it. Yep. Patience.
All right. That's a Psych reference too. By the way. Sean says, wait for it. A lot.
Okay.
Okay, so
you have to get some Psych sound bites for our show.
Why? You don't watch it, so.
Well, I'll get the references now, sort of.
Okay, so A Story, A Hero's Journey.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of meanings, but, you know, it's...
Well, but that's one of the things that they cover is, like, this whole Joseph Campbell, the power of myth thing.
Right.
That the Father Delgado...
Right, he was writing it on the board. And it kind of goes throughout the whole episode.
Teaching this to the kids, yeah.
Right.
So it's essentially like, used as a metaphor for the whole episode.
Right. Waxing and Waning, and that's Elvira and her aunt.
Evita. She did it again. Dun, dun, dun. So take a drink, everybody.
me.
Yep.
Evita and her aunt. So Evita,
you're gonna have to write that on a Post-it.
Evita makes a wax
on, wax off.
A wax thing of Tandy.
Dagger. Tandy, yeah. So her mom's like 3 printing stuff, and then
her aunt.
Yes, Aunt Chantel.
Yeah.
Auntie Chantel, that's it. And then, so she's 3D printing, but Evita is carving.
Right.
Probably out of a candle or something.
Right. Yeah, so her aunt is out, like, spitting everywhere.
That's where we start this off.
Right.
Where Auntie Chantel is, like, doing this voodoo ritual, and she's, like, marking spots in the city by, like, walking around, drawing some chalk symbols on particular spots, and then taking a swig of rum, spewing out.
Right.
So waste of a good rum, if you ask me.
Very irritating, too.
Where's the rum gone?
Right.
To quote,
everyone who drinks rum.
Jack Sparrow.
Captain Morgan.
Yeah.
And my C-story is a liar and a thief.
Yeah. And that's obviously Tandy.
And Liam.
And yep.
Is that his name, Liam?
I think it's Liam.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it is Liam. You're right. So, yeah, because Tandy gets cleaned out in this episode.
She sure does.
She's a Baroque. And I don't mean the music.
No. Baroque. Okay, that's good.
All right.
I was even on key.
Yep, you were.
All right. So a hero's journey, and this really is like the whole episode. A lot of people are included in this hero's journey. O'Reilly is included in this as well because she's at her lowest point right now. Her boyfriend was just killed.
Fridged. As we talked about last week. And she's on the road to supervillainy.
She sure is. And Connors is pretty much facing no consequences for his actions.
No, because O'Reilly literally gets kicked to the curb in this episode.
Right, and all the other cops in that bar are just watching it happen.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Got any more beer? Yeah. Everyone good? Everyone?
Yeah, because Connors has everyone under his thumb.
In his pocket, yeah. So apparently she works for a completely corrupt police department.
Right. So yeah, she is just
can't trust a popo.
As far down as she can be. And I love how everyone is talking about how great her ex is in the bar until Connors gets there, and then all of a sudden they're all quiet.
Right.
Oh yeah, Fuchs was great, but O'Reilly, who cares?
Well, and then Connors is doing this toast. Hey, here's to Fuchs, who,
I had killed.
Who I killed and stuffed in a fridge.
Right.
Because I was reading Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. So.
Yes. I can't be more mad.
The Ron Mars.
I couldn't be more angry.
Right. Yeah.
I'm Shenandler Babing. Okay. So there's that. She's on her quote-unquote hero's journey. I mean, it's not a hero's journey, but
more like a villain's journey.
Yeah.
Is what she's on.
And then...
Because her whole system is failing her.
Yes. Then Tyrone, of course, he and his mother and father get brought down to the precinct, and they get told that Connors was brought in for the murder of their son and his brother.
Right.
And that it was a policeman who did it. But all they do is leave.
Yeah. And this drives Tyrone insane because his parents, once again, are going, oh, well, that's okay. Thanks for telling us. We appreciate it.
Right.
You all have a nice day now.
Right.
And Tyrone walks out of the station, and Tyrone just like, wait, I was right.
Right.
And why aren't you all happy and hey, I helped figure this out, and nothing from you guys.
Right. He is very frustrated with the way things are happening.
Man.
Right. So He takes it out on a kid in school.
So he's angry and just beats the crap out of this dude that just happened to bump into him in the hallway.
Yeah, not great.
And then he ends up like busted, of course, for it, and brought into detention or whatever with Father Delgado.
Right.
And then made to like hold heavy history books or something in outstretched arms.
Right. He's made to hold these heavy books in his outstretched arms until he's ready to talk.
Right.
And Father Delgado leaves, and then he comes back and he said, "Are you ready to talk yet?" And Tyrone's like, "No, you know."
Tyrone has like no respect for him. At this point. He's just all rage at this point.
Right. And then finally he gets mad and he throws the books down and he grabs Father Delgado to find out.
Right. Well, he swings a punch at the Father Delgado.
Oh, that's right.
And then they get in a grapple hold because Father Delgado, being wrestling guy,
right. And he says, "How can you'll never understand my pain," and you know.
Yep.
And then he sees that Father Delgado apparently, while driving drunk, killed someone.
Hit and killed a little girl.
Right. And there was someone else on the ground, too. So it could have been a family or something.
So this is why Father Delgado's there as penance.
Right.
Presumably.
There is a big story behind him, whatever it is.
Yep.
And he gets shook and he runs out.
Right.
And when he gets home, he and his mother have a talk. And his mother says, "I don't want to lose both of you. And this is why we don't pursue it. Because if a cop shot one son and the other son sees it and is the only witness to it, then we're not going to let them know."
Right, because they're going to just go after you now.
Right. You're the only witness? No, thank you. We keep that on the down low.
But it's finally a straight talk, though, from his mom.
Instead of this all denial and, all behind the scenes. Now, mind you, the whole time that he is beating up this kid on the ground, his mother is at Roxxon getting a memo about some corners being cut or something.
Didn't you get the memo?
Right. And she goes off on the people at work. Right. So she's also taking things out at work.
She's starting to lose it a little bit.
Right.
She's finally cracking.
Right. So when she gets home, she's ready to talk as well. And I think that's a catharsis for both of them. So
probably.
There's that. And then Tandy and Ava, what is that her name? Ava?
Evita?
No. Oh. The girl, the daughter of the other Roxxon.
Oh, yeah. That is, hold on.
Nina, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nina calls her.
With an M.
Oh, Mina, thank you, yes.
Mina, like Dracula Mina?
Right.
Yeah.
Mina calls her and offers her a job with Roxxon. And she is a little taken aback by that. Well, first Nina calls her and has her over for lunch, right? Something like that. And then she offers her this job at Roxxon.
Yeah, so she's all happy. Right. And, because she's Mina, we've seen her up to this point as this very optimistic crusader, eco-warrior. Mm-hmm. And Tandy is the complete opposite at the moment.
Yes.
Tandy has become literally an emotional vampire.
Yes, and this is what she's doing. She is finding people.
Using her powers.
Right, and touching them and seeing their hopes and then stealing them in order to feel good. So it's like she's a junkie. Yeah,
she's using her powers as a drug to cope with all the crap.
Right.
Because she can't cope normally.
And the first time you see that is she's with some guy she brought home from a bar. And then she does she do it to Mina next?
She does Mina next.
Right.
And she kind of turns her into a downy clowny because the next time we see Mina after that, she's all kind of pissed off as she goes to that Roxxon site at the end.
Right. So Mina is like Snow White. Kind of walking through the fields.
We get the two sides of Mina in this because like pre-Tandy, she's all happy, upbeat, and then post-Tandy, now she's all like mopey and
So she steals some of Mina's joy.
She goes all emo.
Yeah, she does. Go a
it's
little
emo. Emina.
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 Emina. And then she does it to... Who does she does it to?
Well, she does it to Liam.
Right, she does it to Liam.
Because they have a vision of like her and Liam getting married or whatever, and they go through this whole like Catholic ritual. They kneel before the priest and take communion and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she finally bails him out of jail.
Right. She finally shows up.
Right.
And he's
Takes
like,
him to
hey,
the
where have
church.
you been like all season?
Right. Takes him to the church, shows him where she's been living, and tells him about, hey,
Which is a big mistake there.
Yeah, I could have seen us, living together and all, kind of lets him in on her thought processes that they could be together, and then sees his hopes after she reveals all that. So she's setting him up to think about it. And then steals that from him.
Yes.
And then, and as she's doing that, the doors to the church open.
Right. In his vision.
In the vision. And Tyrone walks in.
Right.
And that is, Tyrone sees the doors in the vision of Father... the father.
Father Delgado.
Father Delgado.
Yeah, right.
And he walks through those, and it just so happens on the other side of those doors.
He just kind of keeps walking, and then he comes across the church and walks through the doors.
Right.
So his vision of Father Delgado connects to Tandy's vision.
Right. Because they're connected.
Right.
And
so they can interact in each other's visions.
Right. She is not happy about that. So she goes to see him outside his school.
Right.
And he and Evita are talking at that point. And
Evita's there like maybe 2 seconds trying to warn Tyrone, like, hey, I can help you.
Right. Because her aunt has had a chat with her about him.
And then all of a sudden Tandy shows up.
Right. Stay out of my head.
Yeah.
She's so mad. And he's like, do you think I want to be in your head? And she touches Evita, and Evita can resist her.
Well, yeah, because she tries to steal Evita's life force, but hey, surprise.
Evita pushes her away.
She's like, get out, or no, or whatever. You don't.
Pushes her away.
And then she realizes that Tandy is the second half of the divine pairing.
That's right. And that's when she goes home and carves the little wax figure.
Yeah, the fetish.
Right. And then Tandy goes back to the church and finds that Liam... Liam has stolen her money. That's right.
Where's my money?
But then...
Where's my money?
After all that, we go to Mina.
Yeah.
Who is checking up on a Roxxon site.
Right.
And she sees the two jerk-offs who she doesn't like from Roxxon. Right. And they are just about to look at something.
Yep.
But, whoops. They explode. They go boom.
Yep. And then Tandy ends up back at her mom's house. And her mom is being held hostage by that water delivery assassin.
That's right.
From earlier in the season that torched the office of Greg or whatever his name was. Yeah. So then Tandy's like hiding around the corner, and then she looks down at her glowing hands, and that's when the episode ends.
Right. So, and Mina sees that the two guys are like zombies.
Right.
When the thing explodes.
Yeah. So zombies are reactivating. I guess, and hopefully we finally get to see some superheroics next episode. Maybe. In the final season 1 episode.
Wow,
what a concept, right?
Yeah. And
it's only been 9 episodes.
And Tyrone is carrying the cloak around with him.
Right.
Because we keep seeing him pull it out of his backpack.
Yeah. Right. He keeps like trying to like use it as I don't know, just like he's trying to feel a connection to his brother through that cloak.
I guess.
So, yeah. All right. So what's your rating for this?
I gave it 8 balancing books, and seriously, season 2 better ramp it up.
These past few episodes have been kind of like downhill because they're just dragging.
No.
It's not that they're bad.
No, they're not bad.
They're just not. It's just not moving things forward.
Why are we not seeing Cloak and Dagger?
Right. If you're gonna have the words Cloak and Dagger in the title, we'd like to see them.
Show me
as
Cloak and Dagger.
Show them as Cloak and Dagger.
Right.
Yeah. It's supposed to just like, okay, here's Tandy being dysfunctional and Tyrone being dysfunctional.
Right.
So yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. We can do better. Mm-hmm. So I gave it 8 bottles of rum.
Excellent.
So, yep.
Bottles of rum, wasted bottles of rum.
Yeah, wasted bottles of rum.
Big
so,
time.
Yep.
Okay, on to Luke Cage.
And this was a little better, in my opinion.
206.
Maybe not so much for Karen, but for me it was. Okay. 206, The Basement.
I'll bump it up.
All right. Written by Ada Mashaka Kroll. Directed by Millicent Shelton.
Oh.
Shelton. So, Millicent Shelton directed both Preacher and Luke Cage this week.
Awesome.
I'm presuming that Luke Cage was before that.
I'm sure it was.
But it's stockpiled. But so in a weird coincidence, Millicent Shelton directed 2 episodes this week.
Very cool.
So there you go. There we go. I told you to be patient.
Okay.
All right. What's our A, B, and C, Karen?
A story, Trust but Verify.
Yep.
B story, Bad Cop, Uncop.
That's Misty.
Yep. C story, It Was What It Was.
That blew me. That just came out of nowhere.
Right?
It makes sense, but it just was like, wow, I didn't expect them to go there with these two.
Yep. It makes sense. All the side eyes make sense, don't they?
Yeah, yes, they do. I'm going to have to rewatch all this stuff now, and now that I know this.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bridgemaster.
Yeah. He's a bridge master.
As bridge master.
I apologize for that accent.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
But it's pretty thick, that Jamaican accent that Bushmaster, Mustafa Shakir, is using.
Okay, so let's start with Trust but Verify, because that is the whole Piranha story.
Right.
Piranha is on the run with Luke.
This is kind of like my favorite stuff this week, because Piranha basically gets paired with Luke in this episode.
Yeah.
Because Luke has to protect Piranha from everybody else trying to get him.
Right. So they're on the run. They're hiding.
Right. They hide out in an old theater.
You like that where he rips the door off and then he takes the thing and just shoves it there?
Yep.
On the, what is it, a wheelbarrow?
Yes.
He shoves it there. And finally...
Piranha Jones.
Finally, the people realize that is not the right color of the door.
Right.
And they say,
because they had these Jamaican guys driving around in cars, which like Lincoln Continentals or something.
Mm-hmm. They were big cars.
They're big cars and big sedans, and just basically drive around trying to just see if they could spot them. And
really big marked cars.
Right. Because they even have Jamaican flags on the windshields.
Yeah.
Little ones in the corner of the windshield.
Little Jamaican flags.
Which Misty makes note of in the episode.
Which is good, because that means Luke knows what to look for.
Exactly.
So
they come around like shining lights in dark places, like a flashlight or something. And
so they're holed up in this old rundown theater, and Piranha has sprained his ankle or leg or something.
Because Luke had to throw him up on the roof to get him away from everybody.
That was funny. I ain't gonna make it, man.
Yeah, so he does like the old fastball special.
Right, and he just throws him to another roof.
And he injures his leg on the landing.
On the dismount.
Of course, Piranha is just like, man, you got to be better at that or whatever, and like giving him crap. And it's like,
if you're irritated with Piranha,
dude, I just saved your life, and you're crying about your sprained ankle. I'm surprised he doesn't turn around and sue him.
Well,
if
you're irritated with Piranha,
yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
That's all I can say.
Yep.
Okay, so I love where Luke is breaking the boards,
right,
to use as a splint, and Piranha thinks he's gonna beat him.
Yeah.
No, you hired him to watch out for you. He threw you onto a roof. What do you think he's going to do with the boards?
Right. Well,
do you think he's going to hit you upside the head?
He's not sure at this point. I think because he knows that Luke is pissed at him.
Luke could punch you and knock you out. He doesn't need boards.
What I liked about those sequences was that Piranha actually gets Luke to open up a little bit. Because he's asking him, like, well, hey, what about your dad and all that?
Yeah. Well, Piranha talks about his mother and father.
Right. And we get his backstory that basically his mom was no prize because she was a hooker.
Right.
And his dad was apparently a John. Right. And once he found out that she was pregnant, he split.
Right. And he's proud of himself for taking care of his mother and essentially being his own father. Right.
Well, apparently his dad was like a money guy. Mm-hmm. But his dad lost all his money, and then Piranha ascended as a financial whiz or whatever, investment guy.
Right.
And as a result, he got to of course, he says, well, guess who started sniffing around once I started making my money?
Right.
And his dad. And then he got to tell his dad, well, there's the door.
You. Yeah.
Screw you. Screw you, Dad.
I'm getting hit.
I'm going home to my money.
Right. And he's taking care of his mom now, which,
right.
He
so
likes
that's good.
That. And And
but I just thought it was interesting to get this backstory.
Right. And he starts to ask Luke some questions, and Luke gives up a few questions, a few answers, until he says, well, I think maybe you should go talk to him. And Luke shuts that down right away. No, thank you.
Because he got that from Claire, and you saw how that worked out.
Right.
But as it turns out.
Yeah, well, after they are.
This is our trust but verify.
Right. They do. They come in to grab him at one point, and he takes Piranha back, and he says, well, I got to get you out of here. So he takes Piranha to the church, and he says, Dad.
Yep.
I got to leave him with someone, and everyone else is gone. Claire's gone, Bobby's gone. I have no one else to leave him with, so... You're pretty much my last chance. So I got to leave him with you. And, that's it. Now, after that is the Bridgemaster storyline. And this is where he talks to Bushmaster and he says, I challenge you to a fight.
Yeah, he calls him up on one of his goons' phones.
Right. And he says, if you win, you can have Piranha. And if I win, you leave Harlem alone.
Right.
And this is where I shake my head really hard because...
Yeah.
Really? You think Bushmaster's going to fight fair?
Well, it's Luke. He's a little naive here, yes. But, I think it's just more like, well, okay, I'm going to... give him a chance at least.
Yeah, I guess.
To see if I can do this peacefully.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what he was thinking.
I think so, but please.
But yeah, it's
the
not.
Dude is already not fighting.
Dude obviously has no sense of honor, as we find out during what was a pretty good fight.
It was a great
because they meet up on this bridge, and where they get this walkway bridge.
Pretty even.
They get to they throw down, and then Luke gets the upper hand and basically is pretty much won the fight until Bushmaster cheats by spraying voodoo dust or whatever that paralyzes Luke.
Right, and then knocks him off the bridge.
That pushes him off. It's like, see ya. And then he falls into the water and he's paralyzed, drowning.
Right.
Which presumably could be one of the ways to kill Luke.
Could be.
Because you don't need to be invulnerability doesn't stop drowning.
Right.
Right? Just saying.
He's okay, though.
Well, yeah, because we got a whole half a season left.
Right, because
so,
we're only on the 6th episode.
He's only on episode 6, so guessing he's going to turn out just fine.
Right. Okay, so then we have all the Mariah fallout because...
That was a good cliffhanger.
Because where we left off last episode, she opened up the doors to her new clinic to show that there were 3 severed heads. Well, now she's down at the station, and Misty desperately wants to interrogate her.
Right.
But no, the station head dude...
The captain doesn't want her to.
Doesn't want her to.
And we find out why, because it turns out...
They're friends. They're childhood friends.
What a shock.
May.
Yeah, and so Misty is watching this through the two-way mirror,
and
or
she
one-way
goes,
mirror.
"Oh, hell no," which I loved.
Right.
And she isn't fond of that, and she does a lot of soul searching in this episode, where she kind of recounts what she had thought she was going to do with Cockroach.
Right.
And she finally realizes, she talks to the guy who cleared her to go back to work.
She goes to the captain. It's the captain. Rednauer.
Was that Ridenour?
Yeah, that was Ridenour. It's the same one that... So, yeah, the same one that was friends with Mariah is the same one that she goes to.
Okay, but before that, she has lunch with the guy who cleared her to go back.
Right. Yeah, that was the other guy.
Right.
So she has lunch with that guy. Right.
And she tells him that she was planning on framing Cockroach, and she says that she's just not sure about herself anymore, and okay, so I was clear to go back to work.
I came this close to framing a guy.
Right. And he says, well, you have to figure out what you want to do with yourself, and if you want to be that person. And so she does go to Ridenour, and she tells him, and she admits that she almost planted evidence. Right. And she shows him the bullet and everything. He's like, I can work with that. Yeah. She's fully ready to get fired, and he is not ready to fire her. No. And she says, well, I'm not willing to take that. So she sets her badge and her gun down, and she quits. So uncop it is. Yep. Setting herself up to be a daughter of a dragon. That's right. Yes. Or a hero for hire. Or both. Or both. Or both. That's right. So, yep. And then we also had because one other thing is that Misty finds in this episode, hey, my bionic arm is strong and can bend metal. That's right. Go figure. Which is very cool. Yep. Because why would Danny make something that isn't better than her normal hand? Exactly. It's like, if you're going to look like RoboCop, you might want to be able to lift stuff like RoboCop. Be RoboCop. Exactly. Right. Okay, so it was what it was. Now, again, this blew me away the first time I watched it. Yeah. Shades of Comanche. Now, I tried to plant a hint for you back when I said Comanche's kind of giving the side eye to Mariah and Shades. I wasn't even connecting. But you didn't even think about it. So, I did. Yeah. I needed a better hint. Okay. A more obvious hint. I didn't want to give anything away. No, that's cool. I'm glad you didn't. Because that was a nice surprise. I was just like, oh, and I said, there might be something going on there. Yeah. So apparently Shades and Comanche were in jail together, and someone picked up the soap, is all I'm saying. Well, they make a comment. Let's put it a little nicer than that. Okay, I'm sorry. They were just like, well, hey. They had a relationship. They had a relationship because they said that it's how we survived that place. Right. So yeah, I was crass. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. No, they had a relationship in jail, and they had each other's back. I mean, had each other's back. I mean, for reals. And they apparently it made them very close as a result. Right. And so they're brothers out when they're out of prison. And then Shades kept telling Comanche, what was in prison stays in prison. Yes. That's exactly what he's saying. And Comanche's just like, maybe not for me. Not for me is what he's saying. He's saying... Right. So Comanche is just like,
I'm willing to pick this back up.
Yeah, he's all in to the relationship.
Yeah.
Shades is not. Shades.
Right.
Now, I think part of that is that he wants a sugar mama. He wants Mariah.
Well, they do have this really good discussion, and I really like that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Where they're kind of back to back with their guns, waiting for guys to come in.
Yeah. Oh, and the setup was good too. When he's talking to Comanche and he's saying, the dealers keep their best stuff. And he goes into the cabinet. He pulls out all the great weapons that he kept out of the sale.
And then Comanche's like, "I thought you got rid of those." And he's like, "Nope,
not everything." Yep. Yeah. So they take all their guns, their weapons, and they go to
They're expecting a big shootout
to the barbershop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're sitting back to back and they're having this talk. And what were you going to say? Well,
I was just going to say that Shades gives this good monologue about where he's going. Look, don't you want something better from your life? Don't you want to be more than just a gangster?
Right.
And that's where his head is at. But Comanche's just like, well, I'm actually okay with being a gangster. That's what I am.
Yeah. And an informant.
Right.
But he's not going to tell Shades.
Yeah, no, he's not going to tell that.
Yeah.
So, remember, Comanche's still, given info.
Yeah.
To Ridenhour.
Yeah, so they have a complicated relationship, much more complicated than...
Yeah, Facebook status, it's complicated.
Yes, very much so. Can you imagine them on Facebook? Showing pictures.
Yeah.
Here we are together in the barbershop.
Right.
Taking a picture. I leaned back to take a fake picture of myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, you might want to, describe what you just did.
That was so stupid. Talking into a microphone. All right. I think that's just about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was the big stuff.
Yeah.
So, but that was a surprise.
It's a really good episode, I thought.
Yep. And we'll see what happens. But presumably Luke gets out of the river, and things will start clicking.
It's
now
a lock that he gets out of the river.
Misty's got some free time on her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Get it?
I see what you did there.
And so, yeah. All right. What is your rating?
My rating is 8.5 splints that are probably a little too tight.
Okay, so you did upgrade your rating.
I did, just now.
Yeah.
Because it's better than Cloak and Dagger.
Because talking about that, you have to kind of, And I give it 8.5 surrendered police badges.
Mm-hmm.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
She doesn't.
No.
She absolutely doesn't.
Bionic Misty does not need your badge.
No. Luke Cage is really good this season.
Yeah. It's much more of a drama this season. I mean, it was good. But it seems like it's much more insightful this season. So that's good because, you introduce the characters in season 1 and then in season 2 you can explore them.
Right.
So that's what they're doing.
You can write to their strengths.
Right. And figure out what worked and what didn't. Play to that. All right. Final episode.
Wynonna Earp 302.
Yep. When You Call My Name. Again, another country song. Written by Caitlin D. Friars. Directed by Paolo Barsman again. And Karen is shaking her head.
Can I just say, I went to look up the name for this episode.
Yep.
And I hadn't seen it yet, and it ruined it for me. Because when I looked up the name, it was all over the place what had happened.
Right. You got it spoiled for you.
Dudes, can you please just...
Right. Well, fandom, that's what happens.
So if you watch Wynonna Earp and you haven't seen it yet, we're going to talk about what happened. And something happened in this episode.
There was a major event in this episode.
So fast forward about 20 minutes.
Granted, this event may not stick.
No, it may not stick.
But for right now, it's sticking.
I'm guessing it did, though.
We'll see.
So we'll see. Okay, so...
Right.
Fast forward about 20 minutes, I'm guessing, if you don't want to know.
Right.
Okay,
so... Heads up. So spoiler warnings, big time.
A story. poor unfortunate soul.
Okay.
In pain, in need. It's Ursula's song from The Little Mermaid.
Oh, that's why.
When she steals her voice.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch the song title.
Okay.
All right, now I get it. Like Little Mermaid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's cool.
Yep. Doc, heal thyself.
Right. Nice play on physician, heal thyself.
Mm-hmm.
Well done.
Because he doesn't want to go to hell again.
And C story.
Mama took away my dolls.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. We'll just leave it there for now.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Wynonna...
Should be pretty obvious if you watch the episode.
What that means, yeah. Okay, so we left last week with Waverly being dragged away from the scene of their accident.
Right. After their car wreck, and which sent them rolling down a hill. And and Wynonna is still trapped inside.
Right. Apparently she was thrown from the car, though, because she was outside the car.
Okay.
That's all right, though. Doesn't matter. She was down on a ledge, wasn't she?
Well, that's where she ends up.
Yeah.
As we find out, because she wakes up because it's bad enough that she had a car wreck, and it probably has a concussion or something, and she's hungover.
Right.
It's on top of it.
Right. But she has to save herself, and Waverly is not there.
Right.
And
so she's trapped on a cliff face.
Right. And she's seeing her dead mother still.
Yeah, so she's hallucinating.
Or she's not dead.
No, she's not dead. Remember, she's in prison.
Right.
But
she is seeing her.
But she's having a hallucination of her mother.
Right.
Who is apparently the side of the family that Wynonna got her smack talk from. Right.
That is true.
Her sass.
Right. Okay, so Waverly was dragged away.
Yep.
And we find out who she was dragged away by. It was a revenant.
Of course.
Who can take your voice away.
Right.
And he is a weirdo. Big time.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he's a little lonely.
He's a creeper McCreeperson. he locks Waverly in a cage and takes her voice, and
Creepy McCreeper Town.
Yeah, and then he leaves her there with booby traps all over the place.
Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the way that Waverly has to tell.
Yeah, because there's a great sequence where, Wynonna finally figures out where Waverly is.
Right.
So she's standing there in the doorway. Okay.
Right. Waverly tells her to stop.
Yeah, Waverly's gesturing. She can't talk.
Right.
She's in a cage,
mm-hmm.
and she has to mime stuff. Right. So she's like, "Hold it, stop."
Right. Stop in the doorway. Right.
Stop, putting her hands up, and then she is trying to convey the idea of booby traps to Wynonna.
Right. So she's touching her boobs.
So how does she do it? She lifts up her boobs,
right.
Grabs it,
and Wynonna's underwire.
Right. Yeah.
Separate.
Corset.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So she's saying all this stuff. Support.
So Waverly's just
and so she's grabbing the front of him, and she's
like boobs. Yes. Ding. Yes. She points to her nose. Yes.
Yes. Boob. Okay. Booby traps. Booby traps.
Yep. Ding, ding, ding.
Right.
Yep. So she got that. So Waverly has to point out where the booby traps are, right, so that Wynonna can avoid them
mm-hmm.
to reach her across the room.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and so she does actually get her out, and
it's a pretty funny sequence.
Yeah, and the guy who steals her voice calls Nicole and uses Waverly's voice to tell her everything's okay, which was weird too.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Just to hear Waverly's voice come out of this weird revenant dude. Yes.
Right. And everybody is tied up in this thing. So they're all kind of converging on the car accident.
Yeah.
Because someone tells Nicole that there was a car accident with the truck, and so she oh my goodness, there was a car accident. So she goes out there and she realizes it's their truck, and she goes running, and then
Nicole and Doc, who are out there, they call or Jeremy, or Judd, and then get a hold of it. And there's basically that, or is that how Doc finds out from Jeremy?
I think so.
Okay.
It's a whole mess, but anyway, they all end up out there.
Yeah.
And Nicole is hanging off the cliff at one point,
right?
Hanging onto a rope, and Wynonna is trying to pull her up, and then it's Waverly that jumps out and pulls her back up, right? The two sisters pull her up.
Right.
So they pull her up, and I have all this too. It's so complicated, this episode.
It was good, though, I thought.
Oh, it was fantastic. It's just, they're always so insanely complicated. So anyway, there's all this mess happening, right?
Right.
But the Revenant comes back, and there's so much stuff happening with them saving Nicole and all this other stuff that Jeremy hasn't had time to tell them that his medication hasn't been working right.
Right.
And finally he says, look, it's not working right. He may be going crazy. And
so part of what's going on is that, all right, while they're trying to, they realize that Nicole realizes that she has to go down the cliff to get Peacemaker back.
Right,
because
the gun.
Right. So Peacemaker is at the, where Wynonna left it because she had to leave it to get up the cliff.
Right.
She couldn't reach
it. And so they couldn't take out the Revenant without Peacemaker.
Right. So in order to do that, they have to get Peacemaker back. So she goes down there, just as she's about to grab it, though, this guy, one of Bulshar's hired goons,
the really quick Revenant,
this guy named Lord Bandicus,
right,
cuts the rope from the Jeep, and then Wynonna and Doc barely grab it before Nicole falls.
Right.
So.
And that's when
Waverly. But then that leaves it down to Doc or Dolls to save the day.
Right. Right. So Dolls has to.
How much took away my Dolls?
Right. And so Dolls has to attack that guy, and they end up fighting each other. And Dolls gets rid of him, but he also gets hurt, and he's not breathing at the end. And Waverly's
because basically unleashes this dragon breath sphere on the dude, and Crispy fries him.
Right. And Wynonna is holding Dolls at the end when he's not breathing, and she's like, wake up, wake up, wake up. And her mother appears again and says, you have to let him go. Because and
his heart stops and he dies.
He's not alive, And she is inconsolable.
And Wynonna Earp fans are like, Dolls, no,
exactly.
No.
Now, the Doc Heal Thyself thing was earlier when Doc and Dolls have a conversation, and he is still super angry at Dolls for killing him. Oddly enough.
Go figure.
And he says that he doesn't think he can change his destiny because when he died, he went to hell. And it doesn't seem to matter what he does that's good in the world, he's going to go to hell. And Doll says, I don't believe that. I think that you can still do good and work your way back into the good graces of God. And he says, well, I think I've sealed my fate already. And so they have a bit of a discussion over that. And Doc doesn't think he can change fate.
Right.
So that is me saying, Doc, heal thyself. And of course, I'm guessing that means Doc is going to try and do a lot of good stuff this season, right? In order to try not to go to hell, because he did not enjoy that experience.
Right.
So that's it.
So we'll see. I don't think we've seen the last of Dolls.
Okay. It's all over the news that he left the show.
Oh, is it?
Kind of.
Okay, well, maybe it is. I didn't realize the actor left the show.
I don't know, though. I mean, it's just, why did that character die?
It seemed weird to like kill him off in episode 2 if you're not going to bring him back.
I know.
So we'll see. But, maybe his contract ran out. I don't know.
Maybe.
But, so, yeah. So.
I'm very upset about it.
You seem upset about it.
I am. I don't like to see dolls die. I like dolls.
That's why I'm hoping they'll bring him back.
Me too.
But I'm still wondering, like, okay, why isn't Nicole the sheriff by now?
I agree. We said that last week, too.
Yep.
I like her.
She should be.
Yeah.
Maybe she will be soon.
Yeah.
But there's no more Black Badge, so I guess there's no real reason to
That's true.
have dolls around. But
it doesn't say he left the show.
Unfortunately, he's their only black character, so
yeah.
You might want to do something about that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
He didn't leave the show, or at least it doesn't say he did. So.
Okay, so there's hope, everybody.
Yeah.
He's coming back. I have a feeling.
Okay.
Something will happen. Some crusade that Wynonna will go on to bring dolls back.
Okay.
Because if Doc can come back, dolls can come back.
That is true.
Right?
Maybe he'll know what it feels like now.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back as Revenant. Or no, he can't. Well, he's a dragon, so maybe not. Yeah, so maybe not. But something.
Okay.
So we'll see.
So what do you give it? I like this episode again.
I like this episode.
It was super hectic and everything.
Well,
We're not doing it justice, but
no, because we got a big focus on Wynonna, trying to survive and going through all this crap,
right?
Because she's stuck at the bottom of this cliff face,
right?
And interacting with her hallucination of her mom and trying to find Waverly, and it was really good.
It was super. I mean, it's hard for us to recap it because it really was complicated. Right. But it was super good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I give it 8.5 dislocated arms because she had to pop her arm back in.
That was early on.
Yeah, it was early on, but still she had to do that.
Yeah.
To get it. Yeah, so.
And I gave it. I'm ashamed of my grade. It's the same as yours, but 8.5 booby traps tee-hee, I put. Because booby traps.
Because booby.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm 13.
Yep.
And again, we mentioned Wynonna was renewed for season 4 already. Hooray.
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 So we'll see if Dolls comes back.
We will. We'll see that.
All right. So we don't have Justina feedback, as I understand, this week.
No feedback from Justina.
Now, we did get some feedback on the Twitter machine from Patrick Lugo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Patrick. Unless it's Lugo, but I'm guessing it's Lugo. A.K.A. @RebelAvenger219. So that's a pretty cool handle, @RebelAvenger.
It is.
So I'll give you props for that. Who asked, basically sent us a GIF and said, can we please start getting timestamps in the episode description for each show covered? I'd like to be able to skip past shows like Preacher and Wynonna Earp that I don't watch or care for! !
Yeah.
So we'd like for you to kind of listen to the whole show.
There's that.
But,
because you miss our funny jokes sometimes,
right,
even if you don't.
I get it. Right. Because we'll use them in the sections that you do like.
Right.
So,
right.
But, if you're really into that, I guess we could kind of start doing that with timestamps and stuff. And I suggested that we could post them on as a separate Twitter or Facebook post.
Okay.
So that I told Patrick, well, you're the first and only person to ask for that.
Right.
But we'll see what we can do.
And I would probably say guesstimate about 20 to 25 minutes for each show.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. So,
Yeah. I mean,
we'll give it a shot. But
unless it's a finale or a premiere, and then you can go a little longer. But
I know Preacher took a half hour because Preacher always takes a half hour.
Right. So, I mean, you can guesstimate that at the very least.
I just still like, why don't you just fast forward?
Well, there's that. I mean, I do that a lot. And I know there are some shows that do that.
Right.
But I don't actually I don't go through the entire episode when I edit it.
Right.
So that would entail me making a lot of effort, and I don't have a lot of time left in my week.
Well, I can probably do it, just like, okay, this episode starts here, this episode starts here, have at it.
Okay, if you feel like doing that, then that's
I will
fine.
we'll see how it goes.
Okay.
If it gets too problematic, I might change that, but for right now, I'll give it a shot.
All right.
Because I want Patrick to keep listening, and
sure,
I'm willing to try something new here. So,
all righty.
Because we care about you guys.
We do care about you guys.
We're very appreciative of our listeners, like Patrick. So,
of course.
So yeah.
I mean, I don't hate the idea. It's just, what's the upside and the downside of it?
Well, the upside is for Patrick, he gets to skip stuff.
Right. Right.
That's the upside.
But we're funny. I'd like to think we're funny. At least.
I hope we're funny. You're listening to us, so we thank you for that.
That's right.
So we'll see.
And we do drop some references in the beginning and stuff that we pick up again in the end, or some stuff. So I don't know if you like our callbacks sometimes.
What does everybody else think about this?
Yeah. Tell us.
Let's open this up. Should we do that or not do that, or what do you? What does everybody think?
Yeah,
we'll open it up to
it does take some effort to do something like that. So let us know. All right. And we did have.
And keep in mind, I have 4 podcasts. So.
Me too.
Yeah. So.
And though mine are on hiatus right now, they will be coming
soon to be 5.
5.
Yeah.
What else are you doing?
No, you.
Me?
Because somebody's going to be appearing on somebody else's podcast.
That's right. That's right. Well, I lost Timeless, so 4.
Oh, okay. That's
still
true.
4.
All right, so you're still 4.
Yeah.
You're counting that. You're counting Next Up Everywhere.
I am.
Okay.
Okay, so we also got a couple of comments from Ken from Chicago, who said, and I'm only reading this because he's being super nice to you.
I appreciate
Charles.
That. Thank you, Ken.
All the sentiments for Karen taking time off from podcasting if she wasn't feeling well. Did you think fans only felt that way towards her, Charles?
Yes.
If you don't feel up to doing the podcast, it's okay. Rest up, get well. We don't only feel that way for her. Besides, and he puts a GIF. I've heard it both ways.
I see what you did there.
And then he wrote again, and yes, I did deliberately phrase that tweet in such a way so I could effectively and hilariously, I might add, include a reference from #psych. And then he puts a laughy face.
And modestly, apparently.
And another GIF that says, that's right.
Right.
From Psych as well.
Well, thank you, Ken.
So he likes you.
I appreciate that, Ken. So
everyone likes you.
As I go under the knife once again.
That's right.
Not my first time, but this is just the latest.
Yeah, I know.
Different body part this time.
I'll have to do that at some point. And I want to recommend, if you guys go...
And that's 2 days from now, by the way, so I go back under the knife.
Go to see... Who is this? Darth something.
Sidious, Vader, Maul.
He did... No, he did a
Tyrannus.
an Aquaman Super Friends trailer.
Yeah, I posted that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I can't remember what his handle is on YouTube.
Yeah, I forget what it was, but yeah, so this guy has been doing animated versions of recent movie trailers and stuff. So he did he used footage from the old Aquaman 1960s animated series and the 70s Super Friends cartoons.
Yeah, so good.
To mesh that up into an animated version of the new Aquaman trailer starring Jason Momoa and Amber Heard.
Good.
Yeah, it's really good. Really well edited. They even have a goat in there.
Yes, they do.
They have the goat in there.
It is so good. And his name is Darth something.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it is.
Everybody wants him to do the Shazam version.
Yes, I do.
That's going to be tricky, though.
And by
there's
the way,
only the TV show from the 70s.
Can I just say Shazam looks like Chuck and Big smashed up together.
That's basically what it is. Yeah. Well, the way Jeff Johns wrote Shazam is basically like, yeah, that's the DC superhero version of Big.
Yeah. Well,
that's his take.
Chuck is Zach Levi with the intersect in his head.
Yeah.
So he can do special things.
Okay.
And it's Zach Levi being able to do special things. Right.
Got it. Okay.
So it's that plus that little child whimsy.
Yes.
So plus Big. I mean, it's essentially those two things smashed up together. I know you didn't watch Chuck, but it's that.
I know a lot of people did. So yeah. All right. That's fair.
It is.
All right.
So
okay. Anyway, if you want to be like Patrick,
and
you want to reach us on the Twitter machine, and Ken, thank you. You can reach us on the Twitter machine at Fandom Zone at Fandom Zone Cast on Twitter.
That's right.
And then you can reach us on the email.
That's right.
fandomzonecast@gmail.com. The Gmail, or the Gmail.
That's nice. Yes.
Or you can reach us on our Facebook page, the Fandom Zone Podcast, appropriate enough.
Mm-hmm. No, though.
No, you mean if you want to do the website thing.
Fandom Zone Podcast, yes.
You can just do a search for the Fandom Zone Podcast.
Sure.
And we'll come up.
Yes.
That's the easy way.
Okay.
But yeah,
you're
instead
right.
of typing in an address, it's just to search for the Fandom Zone Podcast and we'll come up. Right. Or you can drop us or, reach us on Apple Podcasts. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
And you can rate and review us because that helps people find us.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd appreciate that as well.
Mm-hmm.
You guys would be awesome if you did that.
Big time.
You're awesomer, I should say.
We would love that.
More awesome. And Karen, where can they reach you on the interwebs?
Well, we're also on Instagram.
Oh, yes. We're now, thank you for reminding me. I have to update my sheet. We're now also on the Instagrams. So
at
that
Fandom Zone Podcast.
At Fandom Zone Podcast, if you'd like to follow us, where we put up special made little teasers of our upcoming episodes. Yay. So, which we'll be recording that after we record this.
That's right.
So.
And they're train wrecks of the best kind.
They are. Well.
They are,
but we'll get better.
They're fun.
Okay.
And you can find me on the Twitter machine at Aleveria, Aleveria, on the Twitter machine. And there's a link in my bio to my blog at which you can find all my other links.
And of course, I'm at Charles Skaggs on the Twitter machine, at Charles Skaggs on the Instagram, Google Plus for all you crazy kids on the Google Plus. And Facebook, of course, Charles Skaggs in Hilliard, Ohio. Or, my blog of geeky things.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Damn good coffee and hot. Where I talk about all the shows that we talk about on the Fandom Zone podcast.
And more.
Including all kinds of comic books, sci-fi trailers, and news like, hey, Carrie Fisher is going to be in the new Star Wars movie, even though she's dead. So
and has been
that's
dead.
Cool.
For a long time.
But that's cool, though. They're going to use footage from that was never released from Star Wars The Force Awakens to give her a send-off.
That's good.
So be prepared to bring your Kleenex boxes because you know that when you see Leia as a Force ghost standing next to Luke Skywalker, the tears, the feels will be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also got some news that I haven't posted yet. So this is special, that Supergirl has cast Rona Mitra as Mercy Graves.
That's right.
So a little bit of casting news there.
Mm-hmm. I did see that.
So I need to post it on Damn Good Coffee, but you guys heard it first before I do that. So, all right. So anything else before we send off?
Not that I know of.
All right. So thanks, everybody, for listening to the Phantom Zone podcast. And thanks for the suggestions. And, let us know what you think about this whole, time stamping idea thing. So drop us a line, and we'll see you next time right here on the Phantom Zone podcast. Bye, everyone. Ow, werewolves of London. Dun, 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 dun. Ow.